Hi everyone, Agnes here. Now, this YouTube is inspired by Ramit Sethi, and he has come up with 10 money rules. Now, he shared his in a video that I will put the link down below for you if you want to go and explore it. And the suggestion was to write your own money rules, what you would like to live by, and really to simplify and make things easy to follow and keep your core most important values in mind as you move through your day, your week, your month, your year. Before I go through these 10 money rules, for those of you that often use PayPal and different apps for transactions to send money, receive money, I would like you to be aware of Transferwise. They have very low conversion rates, and they are one that I have personally been using to send money to friends, family, or anything that I pay for. They are super quick. They don't hang on to your money like some of these other apps do, especially if it's a weekend, and they drop it back into your bank account really fast. Their customer service is excellent too. So there's always another new one. This is one that I have found to be extremely reliable, and I will share the link down below with you. It was called Transferwise. It is now called Wise. Now, the 10 money rules. This is something that I found extremely helpful, and I'm glad that Rami brought it up in this one particular video, and I'm going to go through mine. I rejigged them last night to do this video, and it is basically what's important to me in terms of money and making sure that I follow my integrity with money as best I can and keep improving on that as these 10 money rules will reveal. Now, these are only mine. This is for you to have a bit of an idea, a template where to start. And it's just different parts of money in terms of spending, saving, using, how to do all that that's in line with my integrity and values. So number one, buy the best things so that it lasts. Growing up poor, often bought cheap things, didn't last, end up having to buy it 2 or 3 times. So in the end, you spend more money because you don't buy good quality. Now, if you don't have a lot of money, which I often didn't in those days, it's like just wait a little bit and save up, okay? Especially for things that are kind of low to medium price range, buy the best you can and take a little bit of time and wait. So that's the first thing. Number 2, only fly business class. Now, I have been flying back and forth to Australia. Yes, it costs money. This is part of my lifestyle that I enjoy. But a 26 to 28 hour flight in economy, it takes me a week to get over. So for me, and I'm not an extravagant person, doing this from now on long haul flights is definitely part of my self-love and self-care, so that I have a little bed that I can sleep in and have a good night's sleep, especially on the 14 to 15 hour flight. Number 3, 6 months expenses in liquid cash. Liquid, it doesn't have to be at home under the bed in a mattress in an envelope, but to be able to access it, straight away. So making sure that I have enough to cover expenses, whatever it is for those 6 months, and that if something happens, say I get sick, or like in the case when I had COVID for 2 months, that covers me when I can't work. That is such a way to decrease anxiety about money, is having enough there. Now, this did take some time. I have got this now. It took some time to build it up. It took some time, but it was putting in little bits after all the debt was paid off, because that was the first thing to deal with when I had $40,000 worth of debt and I wasn't earning enough money. That was the first thing that needed to be addressed. So this was a long-term goal that's taken me a little while to get there, but that is there now, and I just keep it going. Eventually this 6 months will turn into 12 months of expenses and liquid cash. Okay? Number 4, inspired tithing each month to people and organizations. Now, I do like giving a portion away. I think it reminds me, firstly, of how it felt to be poor and not be able to give anyone anything, and being in debt, not being able to give anyone anything because I never had enough for me. So it really is a wonderful thing to be able to say, okay, I'm going to give a little bit each week and each month, doesn't matter how I do it, but that I do this regularly, and I give it to people that have inspired me, organizations that have helped me. It might be to someone that works for me because they are just so consistently wonderful. It really doesn't matter, but it's keeping in the forefront of my mind that my money is to be shared and to be given where there has been a real giving, and the giving was done in an open-handed way. So I love looking at finding new ways to tithe and finding new places to tithe, and I enjoy it. It's a wonderful feeling. It feels good to have a little bit to give, a little bit more to give than before. Now, number 5, save 10%, invest 20% of gross income. That's something that's ongoing, looking at things to invest in. It might be a course to improve my skills. It might be investing in my health. It might be investing in a property. It just looking at things in terms of investing. And as Neville said, invest your time, your money, and your energy. I would say that is a good idea all around. Rather than spending your time, spending your money, spending your energy, look at how to invest it, okay, over time in little ways, and as time goes on in bigger ways. Number 6, 48-hour turnaround on paying bills. I mean, these days I've paid off all my debts. I don't owe anyone anything. So that took a long time to get there with the amount of money I was earning in those years because my income was very small. But it was a steady decision to keep paying off the debt and getting to the point where I used to have a bills folder. You know, the bills folder was very much like, okay, what's next to pay? And there'd be, 5, 10, 12 bills in there, and I would, pay the first one, then another one come in at the bottom of the pile. Eventually, my aim was to get rid of the bills folder and to just be able to pay things as they come in. So I'm at the point now where I can do that. So it's continuing to remember 48-hour turnaround. Nothing sits on the desk. Well, these days it's not a paper thing. It comes through the email. But it's getting rid of things within 48 hours so that you don't have to think about it anymore. That is a great financial relief to not have those things lingering around. And then every time you think, oh, I've got to pay that, and then you get that feeling. I don't have that feeling anymore because I don't have a bills folder. So it's keeping things organized, keeping things flowing, keeping things moving, and keeping things clear. Okay? It took 30 years to get here, so it's like now I'm going to enjoy being able to do that. Number 7, no debt except property. Use the business credit card, but pay in 48 hours. So yes, for certain things, for business expenses, I use a business credit card. I have 2 credit cards, one in each country. I don't have anything on either one of them apart from what I've used for that day or 2 or whatever an expense is. And I make sure that it gets paid quickly. Again, number 8, invest in personal growth, massage, vitamins, yoga, meditation. So I did a yoga retreat. That was great. I go for massages, not all the time, but at least once or twice a month. That's part of investing in my health. And that is money well spent, because if I'm going to be talking to you about this, I can't be talking out of that part of my body if I'm not practicing it myself. Now, number 9, make enough money to only work with people I respect and like. Now, how many of us have worked with people that we absolutely would never spend 5 minutes with if they were around as friends? There are some people that we don't like to work with, some people that we don't enjoy in the workplace, and yet we have to be around them. So that is such a massive freedom. Make enough money to work only with people I respect and like. And I would say today, I've got 4 people that work for me on a regular basis, and I love them all. They're all very helpful, and I am so grateful that they're in my life because they make my job easier. And that gratitude of having picked people that are wonderful and bring so much to the table, things that I never think about. So that's a wonderful thing. And the last and final one, buy good quality and organic food. Buy good quality and organic food. So yes, these days as part of my health, I try and eat organic as much as I can. It does cost a bit more, but I'm not a big spender. So flights, business class, good quality food are 2 things that are very, very important to my health and my well-being and my self-love. And those are 2 things that I will continue to spend on because it is, it just makes such a difference, So I'm very grateful that I can now do that. And that again took some time, but it was a long-term goal. So have a think about what are your 10 money rules. And thank you, Ramit Sethi, for sharing this wonderful thing with us. I really enjoyed doing this last night. They were just random thoughts in my head, but compiling it, putting it in the notes on my iPad, it's made it a really wonderful thing to think about. These are like these things that sit under the decisions you make around money. Okay? Now, one more thing before I go. I am going to run a 3-part manifest more money, and it'll be a study class that is in 3 parts like all the other study classes I have done. I will announce that on a separate YouTube soon. It will be starting in May. Lots of love, everyone. Hope that helps. Get your little money thinking cap on and let me see. If you want to put your 10 things down in the description, not in the description, in the thread below. And let us know if you've got some other things, because each person will have different things. And that's the great thing. Different things mean different things to different people. You'll see in Ramit's 10 things, he talks about that he doesn't have anything about cars in there because he said cars aren't important to me. So some things more important to people, some things not. What's important to you? Let me know. Lots of love. See you soon.